Trump's shocking speech leaves guests in disbelief. Washington, D. The White House Iftar dinner, traditionally a solemn occasion meant to celebrate the holy month of Ramadan and foster unity among different communities, took an unprecedented and shocking turn when former President Donald Trump took the stage. Guests who had arrived expecting a night of reflection and inclusivity found themselves caught in a storm of controversy as Trump's unexpected remarks stunned the audience, leaving many deeply unsettled. The evening had begun as most White House Iftar dinners do, with a sense of elegance and reverence. The state dining room was adorned with golden table settings and floral centerpieces, and a rich aroma of traditional dishes, saffron-infused lamb, steaming rice, lentil soup, and dates, filled the air. The distinguished guests, including diplomats, Muslim community leaders, scholars, and political figures, engaged in light conversation as they awaited the breaking of the fast. The chatter quieted as the call to prayer was observed, a moment of peace and solemnity in the otherwise bustling White House. Then came the official remarks. Traditionally, presidents or senior officials would use this moment to reaffirm the country's commitment to religious tolerance and respect for diversity. It was meant to be an opportunity for bridge building and acknowledgement of the contributions of American Muslims. However, what unfolded next was anything but unifying. As guests adjusted their seats and prepared for the evening speeches, murmurs spread across the room when an unexpected figure approached the podium, Donald Trump. Many had not anticipated his presence, as his tenure had been marked by tense relations with the Muslim community. Some looked on with mild curiosity, others with outright apprehension. From the moment Trump began speaking, it became clear that this was not going to be the traditional message of inclusivity. Rather than extending warm greetings or acknowledging the significance of Ramadan, he quickly pivoted to one of the most controversial aspects of his presidency, his immigration policies. "As you all know, under my leadership, we put America first," he declared, his voice carrying across the room. "We took strong steps to protect this country, including tough but necessary travel restrictions." The air in the room changed. The reference to his infamous travel ban, widely criticized for targeting Muslim-majority nations, was met with an eerie silence. Some guests exchanged uneasy glances, while others lowered their eyes, as if hoping to avoid confrontation. But Trump was just getting started. He continued, speaking about what he described as his administration's efforts to crack down on radical elements and to ensure that America remained a strong, secure nation. His words, layered with the same rhetoric that had alienated many in the room during his presidency, only deepened the discomfort. Some attendees, particularly those who had worked to advocate for Muslim American rights, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others sat frozen, their expressions a mix of disbelief and quiet fury. A prominent scholar from an interfaith organization clenched his jaw, his hands gripping the edge of the table. Then came a remark that sent shockwaves through the room. "You know, I've probably done more for Muslims in America than any other president," Trump said with a smirk. "People don't talk about that, but it's true." A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Some guests instinctively turned to one another, as if seeking confirmation that they had truly heard what they just had. A few attendees, unable to hide their frustration, visibly shook their heads. One guest, an activist who had worked extensively with refugees affected by Trump's policies, could no longer contain himself. He stood up, shot a cold glance toward the stage, and quietly exited the room. A few others followed suit, making their way to the doors with measured yet unmistakable purpose. Trump, however, seemed oblivious, or indifferent, to the reaction. He continued speaking, boasting about his supposed contributions to religious freedom while dismissing criticisms of his administration's past policies. His tone was unapologetic, his words firm, his posture defiant. The tension in the room became suffocating. Some members of the White House staff stood awkwardly at the edges, clearly aware of the disaster unfolding but unsure of how to intervene. The elegant dinner, meant to be a celebration of faith and unity, had turned into an uncomfortable spectacle. By the time Trump wrapped up his speech, the atmosphere had shifted from discomfort to palpable outrage. While a handful of guests offered polite applause, perhaps out of obligation rather than support, many remained silent. Conversations that had once flowed freely over plates of food had now turned to hushed discussions of what had just transpired. As guests slowly made their way out of the room, many immediately took to social media, where videos of the speech quickly went viral. Hashtags like Iftar disaster and hashtag Trump Iftar speech began trending within minutes. Outraged reactions poured in, with many calling the event tone-deaf, offensive, and a slap in the face to the Muslim community. One attendee, speaking to reporters outside the White House, summarized the night in one bitter sentence. "This was supposed to be about unity, but it turned into a campaign speech for a man who still refuses to understand us." Meanwhile, political analysts speculated on the broader implications of the night. Would this incident further deepen divisions? Would the White House issue an official statement, or would